The forest swallowed us whole, its silence louder than our footsteps crunching on pine needles. I was 24, Elias, a guy who thought he had life figured out until Riley looked at me that night. My best friend, the one I'd known since we were kids stealing sips of cheap soda at gas stations, had just shattered everything I thought I knew about us. We were deep in the Cascades, miles from Seattle's neon hum, on a camping trip meant to escape the chaos of our lives. I'd been running from a dead-end job at a coffee shop, pouring lattes for people who never looked up from their phones. Riley, 23, non-binary, and always the braver one, was dodging their own storm. Family who didn't get them, a breakup that left scars. We'd planned this trip for months. 2 friends, 1 tent, and a forest to lose ourselves in. But that night, under a sky so clear it hurt, Riley crossed a line I didn't even know was there. We sat by the fire, its crackle the only sound for miles. Riley's auburn hair caught the flames' glow, and their eyes, those damn hazel eyes, held something new. "Elias," they said, voice low, "what if we stopped pretending?" I froze, my heart tripping over itself. Pretending what? That we were just friends? That I hadn't noticed how my pulse raced when they laughed too close? I opened my mouth to deflect, to keep things safe, but Riley leaned in, their hand grazing mine, and the world tilted. The fire was dying, but the heat between us was alive, electric. I'd always thought of Riley as my anchor, steady, unshakable, even when their family kicked them out at 18 for coming out as non-binary. They'd couch-surfed, worked odd jobs, and still managed to smile like the world hadn't tried to break them. Me? I was the coward, hiding behind my straight guy label, afraid to question the feelings I'd buried since high school. But out here, with no one but the trees to judge, those feelings clawed their way free. Riley's hands stayed on mine, their thumb tracing slow circles. "I've wanted to do this for years," they whispered. My breath caught, and I wanted to say I had too, but the words stuck. Instead, I leaned forward, and our lips met, tentative, then desperate, like we'd both been starving for this. The kiss was a confession, a rebellion, a truth we'd both ignored too long. But as Riley pulled back, their eyes searching mine, I saw fear there too. "What happens now?" they asked, voice barely above the wind. I didn't have an answer. Back in Seattle, I dated women, played the part, kept things simple. Riley had always been my best friend, the one who knew I hated mushrooms and cried at sad dog commercials. But this was uncharted. I wanted to hold them, to promise we'd figure it out, but doubt crept in like the cold. What if this ruined us? What if I wasn't ready to face what it meant to love them? We crawled into the tent, the air thick with unspoken questions. Riley curled up close, their warmth a lifeline, but sleep didn't come easy. My mind raced. Memories of Riley patching me up after a skateboarding wipeout at 16. Of them crying when their mom called them a phase. I'd always been their safe place, but now I was terrified I'd fail them. Morning broke, gray and heavy with mist. We packed in silence, the weight of last night pressing down. I caught Riley stealing glances, their expression unreadable. "You okay?" I asked, zipping the tent bag. They nodded, but it was a lie. I knew them too well. Back on the trail, the forest felt different. Less like an escape, more like a maze. Every step toward the car was a step toward reality, where things weren't so simple. Back in Seattle, the city's noise hit like a slap. Riley's apartment was a tiny studio in Capitol Hill, walls covered in thrift store art and fairy lights. We sat on their couch, takeout containers between us, pretending everything was normal. But it wasn't. "We need to talk about it," Riley said finally. their voice steady but eyes vulnerable. I wanted to dodge, to joke it off, but I owed them more than that. "I don't know what I am," I admitted, my voice cracking. "I've never not liked this." Riley's hand found mine again, grounding me. "You don't have to know," they said. "Just don't shut me out." I nodded, but fear gnawed at me. My family wasn't like Riley's. They'd probably accept me eventually, but I'd spent years building walls. Letting Riley in meant tearing them down. That night, I went home to my own place, a cramped apartment in Fremont. Alone, I replayed the kiss, the way Riley's touch felt like home. But I also saw the risks. Losing them, losing myself, facing a world that wasn't always kind to people like us. I stared at my phone, their last text glowing. "You're still my best friend, no matter what." It should have comforted me, but it only made the stakes feel higher. Weeks passed, and we tiptoed around the truth. We still hung out, movies, late-night diner runs, but every touch, every glance, carried weight. I caught myself staring at Riley too long, memorizing the way their laugh lit up a room. But I was still scared, and they knew it. One night, at a queer open mic event in a dive bar, Riley performed a poem they'd written about love as a forest fire. Beautiful, unstoppable, terrifying. I knew it was about us, and it gutted me. After, we walked along the waterfront, the Puget Sound glittering under streetlights. "I can't keep waiting for you to decide," Riley said, their voice breaking. "I love you, Elias. I always have." The words hit like a punch. I wanted to say it back, to pull them close, but my throat tightened. "I need time," I managed, hating myself for it. Riley's eyes dimmed, but they nodded. "I'll wait," they said, "but not forever." The next day, I saw Riley with someone else at a coffee shop, a tall woman with a bright laugh. My stomach twisted, jealousy flaring, but worse was the realization I might lose them. I went home and cried, the kind of ugly sob I hadn't let out since I was a kid. I didn't know how to be the person Riley deserved, but I knew I couldn't let them go. I started small, reading about queer identities, talking to a therapist friend, admitting to myself that I'd always felt more for Riley than I let on. It was terrifying, like stepping off a cliff, but every step felt truer. One night, I showed up at Riley's door, heart pounding. "I'm scared," I said when they opened it, "but I love you too." Their smile was like sunlight, and when they kissed me, it felt like coming home. Our love wasn't a fairy tale. Seattle's rain didn't stop for us, and the world didn't suddenly make sense. But we built something real, messy, honest, ours. We faced whispers at family dinners, curious looks at bars, but Riley's hand in mine made it bearable. We went back to the Cascades the next summer, to the same spot where it all began. This time, we weren't running from anything. We were running toward each other. By the fire, Riley carved our initials into a tree, a quiet promise. "We're not alone anymore," they said, and I knew they were right. The woods had seen our truth, and so had we. Love wasn't the end of our story. It was the beginning, a path we'd walk together, no matter how wild it got.